I'm Julie Barkey with Senate Update. Two bills that rein in online gaming are on their way to the Senate floor. Senator Lyle Coonan's proposals ban online gaming, playing at the pump, and playing at the ATM. They were passed by the Senate Taxes Committee on Monday, but not before members aired their concerns and sought answers from the Minnesota Lottery Executive Director, Ed Van Petten.
Well, the question that was just raised, the ATM and play at the pump sales do not involve cash transaction. Those are debit card transactions, and any winnings under $600 are transferred immediately, well, almost immediately back into the bank account associated with that debit card. It is not a situation of someone taking cash out of an ATM and being asked to immediately spend that money.
But debit card or cash card, I'm not drawing the same distinction you are, that thinking somehow the debit card transaction is somehow better if the transaction is at an ATM. And I know we're probably going to get into this, but who, and this is not a rhetorical question, who thought that was a good idea?
Quite a number of people think it was a good idea. The vendor that developed the technology did so, to avoid lines, to facilitate. We have vending machines now, almost 500 of them statewide, and there are about 135 of the ATM machines statewide at this point. But it's a matter of convenience.
Mr. Chair, I just find it really striking that those big decisions that have such big impacts on Minnesota residents were made without the input of the legislature. And now, knowing that the legislature isn't supported, I'm surprised that it hasn't been suspended.
I appreciate your comments. That system, the ATM system, was introduced in the fall of 2012, and the play at the pump also in the fall of 2012. We have not had one single report of any kind of harm or abuse of that system. And it, as I said, it's simply a vending machine. We have vending machines statewide, and we do monitor. We support the problem gambling lines more than any other organization in this state, Senator, and we are not going to participate in behavior that we believe is harmful, and we've seen no evidence of that whatsoever.
This is one of the largest concerns that I have. A notable decline in lottery participation among young adults. Minnesota adults between the ages of 25 and 34 declined 62%. And unless this trend can be reversed, the decline in lottery sales and revenue to the state will continue. So is the point of this proposal of moving on to the online to target these 25 to 34-year-old individuals?
Mr. Chairman, I don't like the term target. Research shows that gambling with 18 to 35-year-old individuals is actually on the increase. However, their participation in lottery is on the decrease. In surveys, 84% of young adults, and this survey was 25 to 40-year-olds, said that the reason they do not play lottery is that they do not go in locations that sell lottery, which then in further interview they realize they do, but we're just not on their radar because any retail business that is not on the internet at this point is basically irrelevant to that age group. So by being on the internet, we introduce our products, we allow sampling of our products, however, with a strict spending limitation of $50 per week on that program as well as the ATM and Play at the Pump program. We feel that we've approached this in a responsible manner. We want to introduce our product, but try to get this consumer into the environment of our retail partners.
It seems to me that as the tax committee, we should be concerned about the methods that we're using to raise revenue for what the state is doing, and I just can't get myself to support that initiative.
I simply believe that whether or not you think expansion of the lottery and methods by which you can purchase lottery tickets is a good thing, which I don't, I'm honest about that, but even if you believe that, we need to support the integrity of the legislative process. And this is changing the nature of the lottery in a way that the legislature should have been let in to approve or disapprove and vote. And if there was concern about what the legislature thinks, we know what the legislature thinks. I believe the Senate vote, if my memory serves me, was 56-5 at the end of the last session. And then the House was something along those same lines in terms of percentages. So there was just a handful of votes against this bill, and the lottery continued to move on as though it had never happened. Now, admittedly, the governor vetoed the bill, so it didn't become law. But if the premise is, oh no, we're concerned about legislative intent, our intent was made clear, and it was absolutely ignored.
Someone else may not draw the distinction, but I definitely draw the distinction between offering lottery tickets for sale versus shoving them in your face and targeting certain individuals to buy them. Very different in my mind. It's a very clear distinction, and when you made that leap, I think you absolutely needed to come back and ask for authority through the legislative process and through statute.
I would point out that the average participation in these programs is 45 years of age. It is not an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old. But however, statements have been made in prior testimony that the lottery is illegally acting as a retailer. I would point out to this committee that the lottery has been a retailer since 1989 or 1990 when sales began. The lottery has had a validation window at its headquarters since that time and has actively sold tickets and well within the law for us to act as a lottery retailer. Statements have been made that we are acting as a vendor. I have seen nothing that would indicate that, and we do not act as a vendor at all. The retailer on the Play at the Pump and the ATM initiative is the company called Link 3. And I think Mr. Rice will address those issues. The retailer on the internet sales is a company called Scientific Games International, SGI, and they have been acting in that capacity since the year 2010, which was 2 years before I even lived in the state of Minnesota. I understand that these issues have been brought up to the legislature in the last year or so, and allegations that the legislature or the lottery has acted well outside the scope of their legislative authority. However, I just would like this committee to know that I got here in 2012. General counsel of the lottery, which was at one time general counsel for the Senate, as I understand it, gave me an opinion, and I shared that with this committee last year, that the lottery did have the authority to move forward with these initiatives. I assumed that was correct. The lottery had been basically selling on the internet since the fall of 2010. So we went forward with these matters. Last year, after the defeat and the governor's veto, we did not actually move forward with a few of our programs. We added some ATM locations to prove that the technology worked, to prove that it was beneficial. We really did not add anything to our internet initiatives whatsoever. We did not move forward with our marketing plans. It was up and running as it was. We just left it as is. And that the governor told us to do. I mean, he said, prove your case, so to speak. I feel that we have, but I also, it's very clear that the legislature does not feel that the lottery should have moved forward initially in 2010 at this point. However, that's kind of hindsight, and I would just like for this committee and the legislature to know that no one at the lottery snubbed their nose at this body. We have the utmost respect here.